this one, I want to show y'all how to set up a set list. And we're going to go to set up the set list for this Sunday that we have. So I got Ableton pulled up right now. And so we're going to open up a template that I've created. And just go to File, Open Live Set. And we're going to find that template. It's going to be called Cornerstone template, I believe. So if we go to Ableton Template and Resources and down to Cornerstone, we'll see a Cornerstone template.als. We're going to open that up. All right, now that we have that up, we're going to see pretty much nothing in here except these tracks that I have as a global track set list that it's going to apply to all the songs we're going to have. And I'll explain these a little bit more as I pull in songs, what each one's going to do. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and pull in our first song. And this week we have Great Things in the key of B. So I'm going to drop down these individual song sessions in this Ableton folder that we had set up previously. And we're going to go to Great Things. And I try to label all the keys that they're in and the time signature or the BPM that it's in. So we go to Great Things. We're going to drop down this until we see a .als. And this is going to be the main song that I have set up. We're going to drag this in here and drop it. All right, so on this, we're going to see that it's redundant here. We got markers up here, markers down here, all the way down to Pro Presenter. And Pro Presenter is actually, I don't remember what software we use, but we're not going to be using Pro Presenter. But we got markers up here, and so we don't need double. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this group and move it to the top. So to do that, I'm just going to select the first track, first section. I'm going to select it, hold down the shift key, and then select the very last track up to Pro Presenter. So we don't have MP3 or Pro Presenter on this song, so we're just going to select up to guide, and we're going to cut those out. And we're going to go to here to the top, and we're going to paste those back in. So now we have to take out these tracks right here since they're double. We'll just start with markers. We're going to hold down the shift key and select down to Pro Presenter, and then we're going to just hit delete to delete all those. All right, and what I always like to do is go ahead and add a locator. A locator is basically going to be where the song starts, or if we want to start at any part of the song. So I'm going to right click right here and I'm going to add a locator, and this is where we're going to start this song, and it's Great Things. All right, so what we got here is we got our markers right here, and the reason I put markers here is whenever you're bringing in these songs into a set list, on the original ones, I have locators all on the top, intro, verse. So I put this here as placement holders if I wanted to individualize each or put a locator on each one. So I could add a locator here and put intro. So if I wanted to start the song without the count off, I could just start it from here. I could just double click here. And a lot of the times I'll put them all the way across all these locators, but I'm not going to do it today. So we got that, and then we got time signature. There's a few songs that we have that go from a 4/4 to a 3/4, and I put this time signature here in case I can briefly browse through it, and it doesn't look like I have any time signature changes on this. But had there been, what I would do is, once again, up here on this top menu, I would right click and I can insert that time signature change. So if I needed to change it to 3/4, and then I put back where it turns back to 4/4. And that way we can keep everything in sync, Ableton's internal clock, in case we ever want to run more MIDI stuff, or I don't know. I'm not sure, but it'll keep this metronome if we wanted to use it in time too. So we're not going to do that right now. Now we have tempo here. I'm going to drop down tempo, and tempo doesn't have any audio, as you can see here. I'll drop it down. There's nothing. But what it is if I double click it, you'll see this warp and this leader. Warp is what Ableton's all about. It's what keeps everything pretty much in time. It's a way of timekeeping. So warp will keep, like I said, all these tracks in time, and whenever I hit leader, this will be the main track that's keeping tempo. So if for example, I wanted to change the tempo, and I'll go over this in a different video a little bit more. What I could do is deselect leader. I could change the tempo. I might not do it right now. I might have to do leader, actually unwarp it, and then change the time if I wanted to. And then I can change that to be
intro.
If I don't want it the leader, or I want to take it back down, I'll take it back to
Intro.
and hit leader. You know, put us back in time with the whole song.
Verse.
It's still kind of a hassle to do that, but that's a way that we can change the tempo. And then we got click track, and I'm gonna click track all the way down to all the end of the tracks, and then you can see here that they're also warped. And we got these in the original key. They're all at 0. 0 is going to be your original key. So I think we had this one in C. And actually, we're going to do it this week in B. Well, it's showing B. It might change. But we can see here great things in B. So what I'm going to do is I don't need to change or transpose the click track, the guide track, any drums, loops, effect. So none of those I'm going to select. But I will need to change everything from bass to this vocal, and I'm gonna just click on bass, hold shift, click on the last one, so it shows that I have 12 clips selected. And so we're in key of C right now. We want to go down to B, so we're just gonna go half a step, and you're just gonna drag this -1, maybe. Actually, you can click in here too and hit -1. That's a little bit faster. So now we're able to change the key right there. And
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And it could be done in real time if I wanted to go back up. So we'll keep it
Intro.
at B right there. I'm going to stop that. And what I like to do is I like to go ahead and group these tracks too, so I can bring in my other tracks. So I'm going to start with drums. I'm never going to group these top ones. Like I said, they're going to be more of a global song deal. But these are all just individual songs. So I'm going to select from drums all the way to vocal. And then I'm going to right click and hit group tracks. And so now they're going to be, I'm going to rename this real quick. We can right click, hit rename. And it's going to be called Great. And if you click this right here, it'll collapse them all so that you're able to have more real estate here to see your future songs. All right, so next I'm going to bring in, the next song we have is Living Hope in E flat, and I think it's already in E flat, but we'll see. Okay, we got Living Hope here. I'm going to drop down and bring in, on this Living Hope right here, I did an edit where we just did the chorus. There was one time we wanted just the chorus, so I broke that down. But we want the full song for this Sunday. So I'm going to bring this in, drag and drop it. And it's always going to drop at the beginning. And so if I were to play these two together, it's going to be a mess because you got two songs playing on top of each other. So what I like to do is always select your top from this markers. You're going to select the intro. You're going to hold down shift key and then select the very last track too. And then I'm going to cut these out. Then I like to come to the end of the song, of the first song, and I'm going to do a locator right here for now. This is just going to be a temporary holder to make sure I get everything aligned. And I'm going to put Living Hope. And later on we'll be able to drag it if we need to, but for right now I'm going to put it right here. Then I'm going to drop these tracks that I had cut, and I'm going to paste them right here where it started in the first place, markers. I'm going to drop those in there. So once again, I want to cut these top ones, these top markers all the way to Pro Presenter down. So I'm going to select intro all the way to guide, and we're going to cut those out. I'm just going to come up here, since we have this marker, I'm going to select there, and I'm going to hit paste. And we're going to paste those in there. Now I can come down to these bottom tracks and go ahead and delete those because they're double and we don't need those. All right. So now we got this whole song in, and I'm not going to collapse these or group these songs just yet because I want to make sure everything works. And so what I want to do, what I like to do is kind of imagine how it's going to go from one song to the next. So I'm going to start from the outro. And if you ever want to zoom in and out, you can come up here and zoom in and out. So I'm going to go back to the outro. And we're going to take a listen here.
Breakdown. Ending.
All right, so since Living Hope has actually it's 8 bars, 2 4-bar intro count off, I want to probably bring these in about 120. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to select all these tracks for Living Hope. I'm going to start with the first one, hold shift key, find the very bottom track, select that while holding shift key, and I'll select all the tracks, and I'm just going to drag them over to about 120. And so if I click over here, let me come down to a little before before the breakdown. We look at our tempo, it's at 102. And it's automatically, when we get to this next part, going to shift to 72. Since I have this as a master right here as a leader, this tempo track, that's the importance of this. It's going to shift everything to be on this right time. So if I want to listen to
2.
Now we see 72. And
Intro.
the
2,
internal Ableton
3,
metronome also
4.
switches. So I'm going to play one more time. I always like to take out the click in the guide to kind of put on to see how the audience might hear it. We could probably have some kind of exhortation or something right here. There's a little gap in between here. And it's dying out.
1, 2. Intro. 2,
Did I not turn
3,
off my guide?
4.
Okay, so we got a mistake here. That's a good thing this shows. So I'm going to back out. And it looks like I overlap my tracks. I'm going to come back. And let's try that again. Looks like there I have it. I must have dragged them down. So we'll try again right here. And we'll mute click and guide. And there's a pause right there. And it's just because my Mac, I'm running an older Mac Mini. And I'm already have a lot of apps open. So it has a hard time pushing out a lot of the stuff I'm trying to do. But when we get on my other laptop or something, it won't have those pauses. So one more time. So we got a smooth transition, pretty smooth right there. And so I'm going to take this Living Hope now that we're done with it here as a marker. Now we're going to actually start it from here. So if we're practicing or something, I can zoom out. If I want to go back to the intro, and like I said, we can add locators all throughout here if we wanted to. But if I want to go back to the intro on the first song, or if I want to jump back to Living Hope, we're back in Living Hope. And I'm going to turn back on this click and track
2,
guide.
3, 4.
All right, so I'm going to group these again. Now that sounds pretty good. I'm going to start with the drums for the second song, all the way to the bottom track. Right click and hit group tracks. And we're going to rename these. And we could color code these if we wanted to, but I'm colorblind, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to collapse those. So we can kind of see how our church service is going to be set up as of right now. For now, I mean, and we can change. If we wanted to take out pre-chorus, we can do that, and I'll show you later how to do that. But this is just a general set list. Oops, and we forgot to take out these markers before, so we'll delete those real quick. There we go. All right, so for our final song, we got Waymaker and A. I'm going to bring those in and kind of make it quick. I mean, this really only, once you get it down, what you're doing, it really takes 5 minutes to set up a set list. I'm going to bring in Waymaker. We have it in E, and I'm going to quickly do it. I'm going to bring it in. Like I said, it's always going to take you back to the beginning, and that's why I like to go to the very first track. I like to cut it out so we can know where we're at. We're going to select them all, cut it out, and I'm going to put a temporary locator right here. We set an A, so I'll switch that here in a bit. I'm going to rename this to Waymaker. And I'm going to paste them all in there. Once again, I'm going to select all these global tracks. I'm going to cut them out, paste them at the top, and then delete these tracks out of here. So I'm going to listen to the end of the previous song. So we'll probably just bring those into, we could probably bring those into 214. So I'm just going to select all the tracks again, hold the shift key, select them all. And actually, before we do that, let's change the key. We're in E here, and we need it in A. So we're going to either go up, I think we'll go up on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go 5 notes up. I might be wrong, but so remember, we just need to select we don't need the drums or the percussion. We just need the bass down to the choir. We're going to hold shift and select bass all the way to the bottom track, and we're going to hit 5. We're going to select right here on transpose. We're going to hit 5, enter, and now we're in the right key. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them, and we're going to bring them to crossfade with each other. So I'm going to select the first one, hold down shift, select the last one, and we're going to slide these into about right here. And I'm going to turn off click and guide just to kind of hear how it's going to sound. So I like that right there. And so I'm going to bring this locator that I had made. I'm going to bring it right here where that Waymaker is going to start. I'm going to turn back on click and guide just to hear it with the click and guide to make sure everything's working right.
Ending. 1, 2. Intro. 2, 3, 4.
All right, so I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and group this last song. I'm going to start with drums all the way to the last track. Right click, hit group tracks. I'm going to rename this as Waymaker. And so we got all these songs right here that we got backing tracks for. And if we wanted to, at the end of Waymaker, if we wanted to add a pad, I have some pads right here in Ableton templates, I believe. And we can select a pad here, and we can pick the key that it's in. And let's see, we're going to do just to be close to you in C. So I could just pick one, C, drag it in right here. And I can already tell this is going to be super loud. If I look at some of these other tracks, they're not very loud. So what I can do here is, once again, I can double click this, and where this whole warp thing and everything, I can bring down this whole track, and you can see it kind of collapse. And so it's going to be kind of just on the background. So I'm going to bring this really low, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I want this to probably start kicking in at about, I'm just going to drag this near the end, anywhere really, doesn't matter, because I'm not going to have a click or guide for this. So I'm going to end that last song. what I could have done was, if I wanted to do a fade in, and I'll show you that on another video, and I probably will do it for the service. I'll do a fade in with that pad so we can go to the right key. And yeah, that's pretty much how to do a set list. There's a lot of things I can show you on these individual tracks, but I'll show you on a different lesson. And then what I should have done at the beginning and I didn't do was save it right away. We don't want to save it as Cornerstone template. We want to go to File, Live, Save As, and we want to go to worship set list. And here, I already got a January 31st. I kind of started it. I didn't finish it, so it's rough. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to save it to January 31st. And we'll save it there. I'm going to replace that. And so right here, you can see my servers. This is the server I have right now. It's going to update to all the computers at the church. So if I work on here, it'll update automatically to you guys, or vice versa. If y'all do something, it'll change on my computer. That way we can have everything in sync. So yeah, that's that on how to make a set list.